Let me start off by saying I wasn't introduced to James Bond through his movies. In fact, I didn't even watch my first James Bond film until I was almost 20. For a long time, I only knew 007 through spy movie parodies and tropes made in old cartoon shows. The very first iteration I ever saw of Bond was a drawn one. I knew he existed for years, but I didn't even know what any of the actors looked like. Eventually I got there though. I watched some of the early movies, To Russia with Love, Goldfinger, and I only watched one of Daniel Craig's Bond movies. I didn't get too deep into his, cause I'm not a hardcore James Bond fan. I only recently found out that James Bond was originally a book series by Ian Fleming. If someone told me that sooner, I would have had a different experience with 007 growing up, but I digress. We're here to talk about the game, 007 First Light. Now after this game was announced, I looked at maybe one more trailer and nothing else prior to playing this game. Not gameplay, not story, not even characters. I didn't know Morgan was in here, or if I did, I forgot about it. I have not seen every 007 movie, so as far as I know, this is an original plot. Set in modern day, James Bond begins his journey to becoming the spy we all know and love. He is not 007 yet, but he is recruited by MI6. This game delivers all the spy thriller tropes, cliches you could ever hope for. The weapons, the cars, the gadgets, the women, and my favorite, good old villain monologuing. You know the kind.
He starts monologuing.
I feel like every trope that I was getting burned out over the years was given new life in my heart. The people who made this game loved James Bond, that was very clear, and they did an even better job of making it for the modern audience and old fans alike. Almost too well. There's dialogue that gets deep into AI tech talk, and it gets a little too real for me for a while, not gonna lie.
I don't know. Creating our own replacements. Some feat.
During my playthrough, if I only had one regret, it was waiting too long to just put the game on the highest difficulty. Mostly because it didn't make a difference in the firefights. As a pre-00 James Bond, you still get a plethora of tools, though a good chunk of my time in the game was spent beating the crap out of most of my opposition. The boss battles were, not awful in their design, but the devs could have given a much bigger threshold. Overall great gameplay from the shooting to the gadgets, stealth, and deceptive puzzle solving, but let's not get it twisted, it's not all perfect. There were a few glitches that were painfully obvious. Loading times are rigid, at least when you're online. Speaking of online, let's talk about that. The story mode you don't need a internet connection for. You can play it all you want, and after you finish the chapter, you can replay it anytime you want. The real thing I'm a stickler about is the extra content is online only, but what if you got a buggy internet connection on some week, or worse yet, you got dodgy internet in general? The story stands on its own, in my opinion, but when you want some nice challenges to put your spy skills to the test against other 00s on the leaderboards, it's gonna depend on your internet connection. It doesn't take away much from the game from me personally. I got into First Light for the single player and nothing else. Then again, when I got disconnected, it interrupted my current story progress or taxim mission. The seed of irritation only got bigger and the flaw only grew more obvious. Honestly, I take it as a tall tale sign that First Light was one bad decision away from some live service battle pass shit, but that's neither here nor there. For someone like me who's lackluster in shooters, the game was very generous in firefights in the beginning. Cause there were so many times I should have been dead during the first half of this game, but I racked up those deaths sooner than later. James' greatest weapons aren't his firearms, gadgets, or even his martial arts. It's his big mouth. You need not dispatch every enemy into the dirt. The James Bond charisma is all you need to get your enemies to piss off or give you the opportunity to play dirty. Build up the resources you can infiltrate any way you like, how you like. Me, of course, always opting to simply punch and shoot my way out. The music broke my expectations, and they were already being met from the opening, which was sung by Lana Del Rey, and with longtime James Bond composer David Arnold composed said song. They also had these composers called The Flight. They literally didn't miss a beat. They went all in on the music and sound. I got the same vibe as I did from even early era James Bond movies, but make no mistake, they made this for the modern audience as well as longtime James Bond fans, including the musicians themselves from what I understand. I don't have the decades of experience listening to the music from the movies like the other fans, but I will always recognize these sounds, be it in parody or spy tropes. It is a valid choice to get this game from the music and nothing else. Final verdict. Is it worth the money? Was it worth the $70? If I had a choice to pay that $70 all over again, I would pick a different game, I gotta be honest. Hear me out. This James Bond game, any 007 fan will be happy to have, even if they don't play video games. But as a very casual 007 fan, I would have held out for 60 or less if I was given a second chance. To be frank, I would not give this game anything lower than an 8 out of 10. But I just feel $70 just wasn't the line worth crossing. I honest to God want that $10 back. And yes, I'm a cheapskate. Of course, $70 probably won't mean much to the dedicated James Bond fan, especially if you want to give this to them. But holding out for at least a seasonal sale is what I'd recommend to anyone not that into James Bond. I don't enjoy that I need to be online to do the other tax sim missions, but that didn't really bother me because I got this game for single player in the first place. There were a few times I had to reload my save points when the game froze on me, but hopefully patches will take care of that soon enough. All in all, I enjoyed all the time I gave 007 First Light. Looks like we're getting some more DLC soon, if not another new sequel altogether. That's all for me. Thanks for watching, if you watched. And I'll see you die another day.